Teenager therapy, because we have problems too.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Teenage Therapy. I'm Gael.
I'm Kayla.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Mark.
And welcome back to episode 2 of our Light and the Load series with Jansport.
Yes.
Welcome back. I know. Hope you
Yes.
enjoyed the last episode because I actually thought it was a really good episode. So hopefully you enjoyed it. We're back now with episode 2. Also, I think a very helpful episode that a lot of you have been requesting. I won't lie. It can get cheesy. It can get very cheesy very quickly. And it's self-love, right? How do you love yourself? That is the question that we will be attempting to answer today. Isaac, you are the one that planned this episode,
Yes.
right? What's your biggest take from it?
The biggest take with self-love? It's so cliche to say to do your basic necessities like skincare, drink water, like cook for yourself. But it's actually super important. And like I found it so important for me like every night to at least like meditate or do my skincare, because if not, I'll lay there and I'll just feel like so like unproductive and just like not clean. It's just
Feel musty.
it feels
Feel
bad.
musty. You can't feel
Like I don't love
love.
myself. I feel like my worst self. It's so bad.
That's true. I think, what's the question I want to answer? What's the first question? Because I wrote down a few questions that I think are kind of like will help us shape this episode. The first thing is that like really bothers me is self-deprecating humor. Oh my goodness.
Oh my, that's still big, dude. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Even like in senior year, people think it's so funny.
People think it's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing to just like say how trash you are, how terrible you are, how ugly you are. Like, I don't think people understand when or how self-deprecating humor should be used. If you overuse it, it gets so annoying. And okay, if this is you, please forgive me, but you have to stop using self-deprecating humor in every single sentence and interaction. It's not funny anymore. It's not helping you. It's making your mental health worse. It's making you hate yourself more. You have to stop. You completely have to stop. It's a bad habit. It probably has gotten out of control. Self-deprecating humor should be used at certain times to really kind of humble yourself, right? Like, for example, if you're speaking highly of yourself, it's nice to throw in some self-deprecation, right? That kind of balances it out. But you can't just be using it all the time because, one, your brain is really powerful. If you keep doing it, you're going to start to believe it. If you're always like, damn, I'm so fucking trash. I'm so ugly. Oh my God, why am I so fat? Eventually, you're going to be like, damn, I feel like I am kind of fat. And you won't even realize how you came to that conclusion because you were happy before. But now that you started using this self-deprecating humor, you're suddenly not happy. You're like, where did this come from? It's from you repeating these things to yourself. So I promise you, you really need to replace it with positive affirmations, right? If you tell yourself like, damn, I'm such a bad bitch, dog. I'm really a baddie right now. I'm so good. I'm so smart. Why am I so successful? Why am I just so amazing? You're going to start to believe that. And your confidence will just like go up and up and up. And
like, I feel like it's important. Like, we're not asking that you always need to be like positive towards yourself, because obviously you're gonna like not always feel very great. There's some off days. But if you're constantly like insulting yourself without ever like complimenting yourself, then yeah, it's gonna be a really big problem.
yeah, dog. And I'm tired of these YouTubers that keep making that their entire personality. Like, why is Shane Dawson always talking about how trash he is?
No,
Dog, it's been 2 years, like 4 or 5 years. You gotta like change the vibes up a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, why do you keep calling yourself like, oh, so I'm trash? Oh, that's me. Ooh. Like, dog, if you talk positively about yourself, your followers will follow. If you're an influencer and if you're always constantly self-deprecating yourself, your audience will do the same. So I think you should set a good example. And I think the new trend should be like, talk overly good about yourself, right? And the thing that's funny is that people don't like it. And the reason a lot of people don't like it is because it annoys them. It annoys them because it's kind of weird seeing people love themselves so much. You get uncomfortable. You're like, why do you love yourself so much? You don't deserve it that much, right? And people get upset when you're always like, damn, I'm so good. I'm so like, smart. Oh my God, I'm amazing. A lot of people won't show it, but they often do get upset at that. And a lot of that, people say it comes from insecurities. And like, it sounds very cliche, but it really does. Because I think that if you are truly confident in yourself, you would want everyone to speak highly of themselves, and that would not bother you at all. If it does bother you, there is some like deep hatred or resentment you have towards yourself, and it pains you to see other people not have that. Right?
Yes,
Yes.
I agree.
And how you're saying, I remember one time, I'm pretty sure it was Verena, the YouTuber. And she was just talking about like how, you know, she's confident in herself and she loves herself, and, you know, rightfully so. And then she addresses how people were calling her like overly confident or like too cocky, or basically like just like too full of herself, I guess you can say. And I think people just want, like, not to like paint us as the victims, but especially women, people expect us to sort of downplay ourselves and how we really feel about about ourselves, because sometimes having an overly confident like woman, it can be intimidating for some people. So they expect us to sort of downplay like our characteristics. Like if we're quote unquote bossy, they think we're like trying to take men's power or whatever, but it's really, we're just trying to love ourselves without like negatively affecting anybody else.
It really is insecurity though, isn't it, from men that like aren't used to that? Because if you see a bossy man, they're like, whoa.
Often. I see it so often too. Like a girl can be doing the exact same thing that a boy is doing, and yet they are facing so much more criticism and backlash from so many people, when it's just
there's a double standard.
There's a huge double standard, and that, I mean, that's in like self-love too, you know, like it's
let women love
everywhere.
themselves, basically.
Yeah.
Right? I know. Why are men so insecure?
Toxic masculinity, my guy.
You know what's funny?
That's
You
what it
find
is.
this is totally probably a generalization, but just from what I see, straight men have a much bigger confidence issue than gay men. And I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's because of the stereotypes or the mold that people think a man should be. But since gay men don't have those same standards, they're able to be confident because they could truly express themselves. So, yeah, that's so wild. Why don't men love themselves?
I feel like from an early age, they've just been pushed this idea of what a man is and what they're supposed to be. And they really try their best, you know, growing up to live up to their standards given from their mom or their dad, or like just from society in general. So I feel like that's why they really, I guess, hinder themselves or prohibit themselves from truly expressing how they are, because they're scared of being shown as, I guess, like quote unquote feminine, too feminine.
That's true. I think, yeah, being shown as feminine
Yeah,
when you're supposed to be manly
exactly.
will cause shame and resentment towards yourself,
Yeah.
which is what leads to insecurity.
Yeah, and like a famous, or not famous, but like a popular belief, I guess, like when it comes to masculinity, they're supposed to believe that they're greater than women, right? That's why they always criticize, like you said, bossy girls, because they're not used to that. They're used to being over greater than women or more superior towards women. I'm not justifying that for them, but I think that's what they're thinking.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Something you're not used to too, right?
Yeah.
People feel uncomfortable with things they aren't used to, and seeing women in power, women in powerful positions is something they're not used to, which makes them kind of like uncomfortable. Like, I'm not supposed to be feeling this way. I'm used to being bossed around by other men, but not other women.
And that's not right. You know, I feel like there should be more more women in power, so that people can get used to that, and it will be normalized.
Yeah. Kamala Harris. Woo. First step, I guess.
Just
Her. It's a first step.
Yeah.
It's a first step. It's baby steps. Baby steps. But back to self-love.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that a lot of people feel uncomfortable telling themselves positive things, but not negative ones. Like, people are very quick to be like, oh my God, I feel so ugly. I feel so like fat right now. And that they don't feel like any problem with that. But telling yourself like, oh my God, I feel so pretty right now. I feel so fit. I feel so skinny right now. Feels a little weird, especially when you do it in public, like around friends. You say that it's a lot harder because you almost have this fear that they won't agree, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's another issue, is that you shouldn't come to others for that external validation.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they think you do look, you know, fit or pretty or not, shouldn't matter to you. You should be able to freely say it. And this is obvious. I'm stating the very, very obvious.
Yeah.
The real issue is, how do you do that? How do you stop yourself from letting others influence what you think of yourself? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't consider myself like a very self-deprecating person, but sometimes I do catch myself making negative jokes about myself, and I like whenever I'm like messaging somebody or just typing something out, and I catch myself saying something negative, I just delete the message,
Yeah.
just so that I can like, I don't want other people to think like the same thing about me, and I don't want to think that about myself. So if you catch yourself doing it, just like quickly rewire your brain to think
Yeah.
otherwise.
You know what
Yeah.
I do? Or go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I don't think I'm a pretty like self-deprecating person. I know like I used to be back in I don't know, like a few years ago, I would constantly bring myself down. I would like never say anything positive about myself. But I feel like now I definitely like have a bit more confidence, and yeah, like every time I'm gonna admit, like there are times where I'm like, oh my God, I feel really ugly today. But then like an hour later, I'm like, oh, I look kind of good actually,
Me
you know?
too.
So yeah, I mean, it's a bad habit to, and it's gonna like take some work, is what I'm trying to say.
You know what I do is, I do catch myself, like sometimes I'm in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I look kind of fat right now, or oh, my skin looks bad right now. But then I've been really, really trying to like be able to say that, but not really have any judgment towards myself because of it. And it does help. This process really it's like having a conversation with yourself, right? So if I were to guide you through what it would look like, it would basically just be me. I go to the mirror, I look at my skin, I'm like, whoa, I have pimples. That like looks kind of ugly on me. And I'll just be like, "Oh, that's fine though. It doesn't really matter. I don't need anyone to find me attractive right now or today or tomorrow. I don't really need anyone, so it doesn't really matter." And what I find is that when I do that, there's like so much peace within yourself, because it doesn't matter whether you look ugly or fat. It doesn't matter. You could look like that as long as you want or are comfortable with, and you could be doing to change it in the process. So, if I feel like I'm fat or too small or whatever, I'll be like, it's fine. I don't need to be extremely muscular anytime soon. The process of getting there is totally up to me to decide and like go through, and there's no rush to look like that. So this is just one step in that. And that really helps, doing stuff like that. And it's hard to break out of the habit, but once you do and you tell yourself positive things, your whole entire like mindset changes.
I wanted to bring this up. I'm not gonna lie. I would say self-deprecating jokes because I was fishing for compliments. I wanted somebody else to tell me the things that I wanted to hear, and basically what I was doing, I was asking for validation. I was wanting validation from somebody else, from other people. And although it may feel good temporarily, in the long run, on the long scale, everybody is not going to be there for you. However, you will be there for yourself always. You're always going to be there for yourself. And so try to learn how to validate yourself through your own thoughts, your ideas, through yourself, so that you'll forever be content and at peace.
I do the exact same thing sometimes,
Yeah.
like unintentionally. And it's only with like, cause there's always like at least like one person that I'm trying to impress, and then I can be like I'm not, I'm kind of ugly, and then I hope that they say like, what? No, you're not. Like, I think you're actually really attractive, and then I'm like, okay, yes, I am done. And like yeah, that it becomes really toxic, you know, because
Yeah.
then I'm just constantly needing that other person's validation. Like I can just feel that way about myself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it
Okay, you go.
and it can be a lot for like the other people too,
Mhm.
to like constantly give validation. You know, you're like constantly say something to, because basically when you're trying to give validation, you're saying something to cheer them up, right? But then, you know, like Einstein said, if you keep doing something and then the result doesn't change, that's insanity. And I feel that's what it leads to, insanity.
Eternal unhappiness.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was saying, I don't know if you guys have experienced this before, but like, let's say you're like you have an insecure friend or something, and sometimes I I'm trying to make it like I'm trying to word it so it doesn't seem like bad. Like I'll say a positive comment about myself out loud, and then I have an insecure friend, and sometimes I regret saying it out loud because I don't want to make them feel bad. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I've felt that a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like
And so like if that does happen, I feel so
Wait, give me an
bad.
example.
Like I don't know. It's just like
it's not it's like for example not physical appearance, but pretending like you're doing really good in school, right? Like you have the same class as a friend, and you know they're like doing bad, right? And you're just both like you're saying, "Oh my god, I got a good grade." Like you kind of feel bad. You get me?
yes, it's similar to that. It goes like
That's like a
with
small
that,
example, but yeah, it can be as
Yeah.
small as that.
or like a physical
Oh,
appearance or something
I get
around
it.
that, and
I do.
I don't know if that's like wrong of me to.
That's the thing. That's like what I was saying earlier. That like that in a fully confident society, that shouldn't matter whether you got a good
Yeah.
grade or not. If you're confident, that's like you will always be happy for them. You will never feel. You might feel like, damn, I wish that was me, but you'll still feel happy for
Mhm.
them.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, it takes a commitment from both sides.
Mm-hmm. What else in this subject, Isaac?
Next, basically, have you all ever neglected how like you felt or you acted out of what someone else would think instead of what you would want yourself?
Have
Bro,
you?
that's like my entire life story. Sorry, girl. But yeah, like, cause I've basically lived a majority of my life trying to, I mean, majority, like all of it, to impress my parents. You know, I've constantly tried to do good in school. I took classes I did not give a shit about. I joined clubs. I did a lot of stuff just to impress not only my parents but like everyone else. I feel like I'm such like a people pleaser. Like all I want to do is to be loved by everyone. And you know, I feel like and I really regret that because I feel like I missed out on real cuz I don't know who I am. Honestly, I struggle really badly with like self identity. Like I don't know who I am. I don't know like the person I want to be is just me because of other people. Like I don't know. And I think that's because I have only like done everything for other people. Yeah. I think a lot of other people feel this way too. But I don't know if it's as extreme as mine.
Have you?
Similar to Thomas, like in terms of self identity and like finding your voice, I just think you have to surround yourself with good people because, for example, like this group, I don't really ever find like doing things so that I can like please everyone for like validation, right? If you surround yourself around people who can like take advantage of you like that, and like basically you have to do things to please them, like that's like the worst thing ever. But man,
Yeah. I I don't think I am a people pleaser at all. I don't yeah, at all. And I think that's a lot of that just comes from the fact that I I forget that other people can have a different perception than what I do, what I have of myself. So I guess that kind of helps me not be a people pleaser since I forget that um I don't know, that people are going to be like negative about it. I guess I the way I see other people is just like, no, I feel like they'll like, they're not going to be hateful, right? They're going to be like nice and good people. So that leads me to just like not really. I feel like everyone is already nice and loving towards everyone, so I don't need to reach for more love, I guess.
Well, I think of it as the opposite. I feel like some people are just hateful, and you have to like get on their good side by like pleasing them.
I just don't care, I think. Yeah, I guess I just don't really care. I've never been like too into what people think. I always, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, to being a people pleaser and just like not really caring at all. Because one, you do things for them too much, and one, you don't think about others at all because you don't care about their opinion, right? So there's negatives and positives to both. Some people asked us though, do you need to love yourself? To love yourself, you need to forgive yourself. So do you need to forgive yourself in order to learn how to love yourself?
I mean, yeah, right. It makes sense.
I think that's a part
Yeah.
of it.
I mean, obviously, if you have a bad past, if you made a lot of mistakes in the past, and you really hate the person you were, you have to forgive yourself. Like, sure, the things you did to, I don't know, like to yourself or to other people may have been really horrible and even like unforgivable, but if you don't forgive yourself, then you won't be able to love yourself. You'll always feel really guilty and have that resentment towards yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really well said, Thomas.
Yeah, I hope so.
You hope so. It is.
You know
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
You know
it
it
is,
is.
it is,
Yeah,
it
you
is.
hope so.
It is,
I
dog.
keep doubting myself.
Why?
Never
Why?
the
confidence.
We're
We don't have to
talking about
agree.
this, folks.
Exactly. That's the thing,
You know
right?
you're right.
It's interesting to see it in action, right? It's like,
Yeah.
why like, it's just to think like about the psychology behind why you said I think so, instead of just like, yeah, I know, right? It's like, I don't know, it's just so interesting,
I
the
just
choice
think
of
it's,
words
like, out
there.
of the fear that like your advice or something would be like
Bad.
bad or wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's the
I did a
fear
lot.
of people not accepting it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it just kind of gives you this safe space that if you say, I think it was, I'm not really sure, probably not, then like if someone says no it wasn't, you'll be like, yeah, I know, I was right. It
Dude, I
wasn't,
do that
right?
like every day. It's
Really?
bad. Yeah.
I do notice that you have a habit of like not like owning your opinions to like the max.
Yeah, and I think it's just like it's a people pleaser thing. That's like another aspect of it.
Mm.
And I feel like my opinions I only share with like my closest friends because I know that even if they don't agree with it, like we'll still be fine, you
Mm.
know? But talking to like people I don't know or like new people or on camera, it's like I understand there could be like consequences and it's scary.
So you try to just like kind of bait their response to then see like what they might
Well, I won't
want.
abandon my opinion. I'll still like put my opinion up, but I won't really argue it.
Mm.
I think for me, it's because like I used to have a speech problem and I have a lot of trouble like enunciating and like pronouncing some words. I feel like I have a bit of a lisp. I don't know. So I'm really self-conscious about the way I speak and the way I talk because I cannot listen to myself speak. I don't know how you guys do it. You might just like skip over my parts, but yeah, that's why I'm a little insecure. But something like while I was talking whatever about the forgiveness thing, I was thinking about this the other night. Do you think that everyone and everything deserves forgiveness? Cause I don't know. I was having like a full on conversation in my head about it. Like, I mean, we do want to embrace change and that people can change, people can learn from their mistakes. But there are also a lot of things that like, can that be forgiven? You know?
It's really hard to like forgive somebody, especially if you never received a proper apology, you know?
That's true.
Because
or when that apology
it's so
is it
bullshitted.
genuine? It's
Yes,
not, it's not a real apology.
I completely agree with you. Because with that, it's really hard to find closure. But I feel that when I do think that way, it's really easy for me to build up resentment and anger. And I used to think this, like, well, if I don't forgive them, then they're the ones that being affected, like they're not receiving my forgiveness. But that's such a narcissistic way to think about it,
Yeah.
because really I'm harming myself
Yeah.
more than it's affecting them, because they're not the ones that's dealing with what I'm feeling, the same resentment that's
Yeah.
building up constantly.
Yeah.
So really they don't really care.
They could care less.
As bad as that sounds to say, but and same with the closure thing. I think closure is just an excuse to be stuck in the past, to constantly be like, well, I never received a genuine apology, or what they really felt or whatever. It's an excuse for somebody to just constantly be thinking of the past and thinking that, maybe there is hope because they'll come back and they'll, apologize or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But it's so much easier to just forgive. And it's not a matter of, oh, they won because they received my forgiveness or something like that.
Mhm.
Something petty like that. It's really just taking care of yourself and wanting to feel not so angry all the time, because it's so draining to constantly feel down and sad, that at some point it's okay to forgive. It's not meant to be like a game,
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Oh my God, Kayla, very perfectly said.
Yes.
It's really hard to forgive people. I hold a lot of
What?
resentment towards this one person. Like, I hold a lot of resentment towards them, and they really hurt me. And I feel like I wasn't like, it wasn't justified. Like, it was like there was no really genuine apology. There wasn't really something that made up for it. So I just had to deal with the fact that it is how it is. And honestly, yeah, what Kayla said is what needs to be done. You just need to forgive them and move on. And that's exactly what I've been working on recently. But yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Kayla.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I thought the closure that I needed was answers from this person. I needed to know why that person did the things that they did. But, I never got it. I never got that closure, what I thought was closure. And then later on, with time, I soon to realize that without knowing the answers to the questions that I needed, I realized I'm still living. I'm still doing my things, and I can still make myself feel happy. I didn't need it. And what I realized is I just wanted it. That's what I wanted, not what I needed. And then when I learned to separate what I needed and from from what I wanted, it became really easy. Or life became really easy. Life became easier to handle by separating the two.
Yeah, I feel like most of the times you just need to give yourself the closure. Like, you tried your best. You did everything you can. It's not your fault.
It's not.
Like, it's really not. There isn't really anything you could have done to prevent it.
At the end of the day, just remember to love yourself, think positive about yourself, and don't self-deprecate. Please stop. If you take one thing out of this, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Keep talking about how amazing you are, how
Positive
powerful you are, how beautiful you are,
Honestly.
and your life will change. I really do promise you. Don't care if someone thinks you're cocky, overconfident. That's their issue, right? If they're insecure, it doesn't matter. You will be a better person. Things will come to you. Anyways, thank you, Jansport, for passing the mic to us. I think it's really amazing what you're doing. And, these are important conversations that we need to have. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Use code Teenager Therapy for 20% off jansport.com and jansport.com/sign-the-load. Boop. All caps, all one word. Teenage Therapy.
How do you
all
spell
caps, Teenager Therapy, all caps, on one word, 20% off. Go get it. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. You can watch this on YouTube. Go subscribe to us on YouTube. Turn on the bell notification. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.